All right, today is day 121. Yay! Get your worksheet. Let's get her done. Capitalization is on your own. Check it at the end. Punctuation. Place a comma before and after a dependent clause that begins with a subordinating adverb, such as before, after, unless, if, when, and although, when it interrupts a sentence. You should be familiar with the subordinating adverb type clauses now because of the sentence starters. These would be the www.asia.b that you have in your sentence starter handout. So here, obviously, though, these are not at the beginning of the sentence, they're in the middle of the sentence. And so when they're interrupting a thought, you place them in commas. So you may, comma, when you have time, comma, send me an email. Let's take a look at their sample sentence. Let's go, if you like art, to the museum to see the following: The Doryman by N.C. Wyeth, The Same Old Yard by H. Christie, and Rockwell's Statue of Liberty. All right, no one is speaking directly, so there's no quotation marks. Phew! So let's just get started. Let's go, all right? Let's is a contraction for let us. So there would be an apostrophe between the T and the S. Let's go. If you like art, there is a dependent clause stuck right there. So we're going to mark it with commas. Let's go, comma, if you like art, comma, to the museum to see the following. And there's listing now, a series of works. So if you're going to have a list, you hopefully remember that you would have a colon. So to see the following, colon. The Doryman, this is the name of a piece of art. You underline it. The Doryman by N.C. Wyeth. That would be N period, C period, Wyeth, comma. We have things in a series here. Here's the next work of art. The Same Old Yard, underlined, by H period, Christie, comma, and Rockwell's Statue of Liberty. Okay, Rockwell's, that belongs to Norman Rockwell. Hopefully you realize he's a very famous American artist. So Rockwell's Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty belongs to Rockwell. So it would be Rockwell apostrophe S. Statue of Liberty would be underlined because it is a work of art, followed by a period. Let's see. Did my words match with my writing? Let's go, if you like art, to the museum to see the following: The Doryman by N.C. Wyeth, The Same Old Yard by H. Christie, and Rockwell's Statue of Liberty, period. I can't remember if I said to have the comma after Christie before we went to Rockwell's Statue of Liberty. In case I didn't, you can see it right here, though. It is needed. Excellent. Okay, what do we got going on next? Phrases and clauses. Label any dependent clause DC and independent clause IC. When someone burglarized their home, the police were called. All right, we have an introductory adverbial clause that is using a subordinating adverb, when. That would make it a dependent clause. When someone burglarized their home, dependent clause. The police were called, independent clause. Who remembers what you call a sentence that has a dependent clause and an independent clause? It is called a complex sentence. So this is a complex sentence. Next we have, several neighbors arrived after the burglary and they were questioned. Several neighbors arrived after the burglary. That is an independent clause. It makes sense all by itself. So that would be an IC. And they were questioned. That is also a complete thought. That is also an IC, an independent clause. Who remembers what we call it when you have two independent clauses joined together in one sentence? It's called a compound sentence. So here's the answer for 3A, DCIC complex, and for B, ICIC compound. Moving right along, we come to the subject, verb, and nouns section. What are your directions today? Delete any prepositional phrases. Underline the subject once and the verb or verb phrase twice. Label any direct objects. Okay, let's take a look. First thing we're going to look for is prepositional phrases and get rid of them. First prepositional phrase is with onions, carrots, and potatoes. Cross it out. Next prepositional phrase is in a ceramic baking dish. Cross it out. What are we left with? Bake the roast. What's the subject? The subject is you, understood. So you would write the word you and put it in parentheses and underline it. You. You what? What are you doing? Bake. Bake is underlined twice. That's the verb. You bake what? You bake roast. Roast is the direct object. So this is what it should look like. You bake the roast. And then cross out those prepositional phrases. We just don't need them. Next section is sentence combining. You have 4 sentences, but they're pretty short. I think you'll be able to combine them quite easily. Make sure you have good punctuation for me. And then lastly, you will have hit pause and gone through the capitalization yourself, and now you're just checking to see if you're correct. I will read while you observe. In Sitka Sound, 2 people were rescued from the research ship Rainier, which is part of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Okay, those were the words that needed to be capitalized. Good job, you guys. You're done for today. Yay. God bless you.